Hello friends! Today's story is about Nina, the brave squirrel. Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, lived a little squirrel named Nina. Nina was a very curious squirrel, and she loved to explore new things. But she was also a very timid squirrel, and she had quite a few fears. She was afraid of loud noises. She was afraid of the dark. And most of all, she was afraid of the scary old owl that lived in the tallest tree in the forest. Every night the owl would come out of his tree and fly around the forest, hooting loudly. And every time Nina heard his loud hoots, she would run and hide in her little hole. Other squirrels would tease her for being such a scaredy cat. "Oh, come on, Nina," they would say. "That old owl can't catch us if we wanted him to. He's too slow." But Nina didn't want to take the risk. She was happy in her little hole with her nuts and berries. That is, until one day when the greedy weasel decided that he wanted her home. The weasel was a very cunning animal. He had been watching Nina for some time, and he knew that she was a very timid squirrel. So one day, he came up to her while she was gathering some nuts and said, "Hi Nina, how are you?" Nina froze. She knew that the weasel was one of the forest's meanest and most vicious creatures. Hello," she squeaked. The weasel slowly came closer to her, and Nina slowly backed away. "I just wanted to tell you," the weasel said, his voice dripping with fake sweetness, "that your home is in my territory now, and from now on, you have to pay rent to me if you want to live here." Nina was shocked. She couldn't believe that the weasel had the audacity to demand rent from her. But before she could say anything, the weasel was gone, and Nina was left alone with her thoughts. She thought and thought about what she should do. Should she pack her things and move to another part of the forest? But where would she get the energy to do that? All her life, she had been hiding in her cozy home and collecting nuts and berries. She didn't know any other place better than her home. In the end, she decided to stay put and confront the weasel. As soon as the sun set, the weasel came back. He swaggered up to Nina and said, "So, Nina, have you made up your mind? Are you going to pay rent to me, or are you going to leave?" Nina took a deep breath and said, "No, I won't pay you any rent, and I'm not going to leave." The weasel's eyes flashed with anger. "So be it," he hissed. "You leave me no choice. I'm going to have to evict you myself." And with that, he lunged at her. Nina screamed in terror and ran as fast as she could. She ran past the tall trees and over the bushes and finally came to a stop at the base of the tallest tree in the forest, the same tree where the scary old owl lived. Nina was scared, but she was also angry. Angry at herself for being such a scaredy cat all this time. She was tired of being afraid of things, and so she made up her mind. She would face her fears and enter the owl's tree. Just then, the weasel came up to her, panting heavily. "Gotcha," he said. But before he could grab her, Nina darted past him and climbed up the tree. The weasel, who was much too big to climb the tree, could only watch helplessly as Nina disappeared into the hollow of the tree. Inside the tree, Nina found the owl, and to her surprise, he was not at all scary. In fact, he was very friendly. "Hello," he said. "What brings you here?" Nina explained to the owl what had happened, and the owl, being the nice guy that he was, offered to let her stay in his tree. From that day on, Nina was a changed squirrel. She was still curious and liked to explore new things, but she was no longer timid. She was no longer afraid of the dark, of loud noises, or of the scary old owl. Because she had faced her fears, she had become brave, and all her friends and neighbors were very proud of her. The end. Now tell me, friends, what did you like about the story? Was it the part where Nina explored the forest? Or was it the part where she faced her fears? Share your thoughts with me in the comments section. And also, if you liked the story, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already.